Greetings and welcome to Boot Hunter's Made Matters program. It's a Saturday and really looking forward to meeting our guests, Robin and Robin, the co-founders of Lennertson Shoes and Boots. And I am super excited, been following these guys for some time and super impressed with what they're doing. And I am really looking forward to chatting with them about their business and a lot of other good stuff. So let's see if we can get them to join on here. And hope everybody's doing well today. Part of what's going to come up during our discussion as well, I'll be asking some questions.
Yeah.
Hey, there they are. How are you?
I'm good. Well, my other Robin is changing the volume.
Okay, great.
All right. Hi.
Hey,
Hi, Brian.
Really good to meet you guys.
Same here. Thanks for having us. It's
I've
our
been
first,
so impressed following all your work and how you've been building this business. So it's really great to get together.
Well, thanks a lot. We take it as a compliment. We put a lot of hard work in it, so yeah, it's good that it gets noticed.
Yeah. I've been following your account for long before we started the Lennertson account.
Okay.
So yeah, always see you posting. You also sharing your platform with new brands. I think that's really cool. So happy to be here today talking to you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And that really is the goal of this podcast. It's not so much specifically looking at a model of boots or footwear, but it's really in meeting the makers. It's meeting people like you that are starting business and who are succeeding, and you've faced challenges too. And obviously it's been interesting because over the last 2 years plus of the pandemic, I really thought, even though I had started this before, I thought, I really need to double down on this because people are struggling. They're trying to start businesses at, in a very difficult time. And yet, in many ways, I've found with one maker after another that started up during this craziness, that is actually has been a really good time to start. That for a variety of reasons, it actually either forced people into thinking about doing something new, quitting what they were doing. I just quit my job a month ago. And then starting a new agency. So it's like I joined the Great Resignation, if you will.
Yeah.
But I've always worked for myself until recently, and there's just such an incredible pleasure in working for yourself, and you can see it in what you guys do. I've also really been enjoying your videos.
Yeah, we get that a lot.
Your video channel has a lot of opportunity.
The thing is, I appreciate what you're saying, working for yourself, but both of us have day jobs at this moment, as well, because we've just launched a brand. Well, we launched the first pre-order in October. And because of the challenges we faced with COVID, supply chain issues and stuff, we've only been delivering those in the past couple of weeks, actually. But both of us are in a line of work that really lends itself for this project, for this business.
That's great.
For example, the video content we create, we've been not doing that many of those as of late. We're actually recording a new one tomorrow, but it's something we really enjoy doing. Also, it brings us in contact with the shoe loving and boot loving community.
Right.
These days with Instagram changing, it's much harder to reach a lot of people. So sometimes you put a lot of work into a piece of content and it doesn't always get picked up.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, we really enjoy doing it. I'm a big talker, so most times I'm in front of the camera.
I'm usually the guy that's behind the camera. That's what I love doing.
Yeah.
And I think because we both are good in some stuff and aren't good in others, I think we're a good match to do something like this, because Robin is a storyteller. not only in his personal life when he is telling stories to his friends, but also for his job. So that's what he excels in, and that in combination with me doing graphic design and video photography, stuff like that, I think it's a great match, and it helps us build this brand. And
yeah, we add to each other. You know,
yeah.
we don't have the same skill set, which is
Perfect.
great.
Yeah.
And also, you know, we've known each other for pretty long, more than 15
So
years.
I read that you guys met in high school. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we met in high school. We both attended an art high school, which is a thing here. And I think I think we both attended 1 year, and we weren't really friends yet. But I knew he was a pretty good drummer. We used to be really into music, and I remember setting him up with a guy I knew that was a guitar player.
Yeah.
And then I joined the band as well after a couple of months, and that became a huge thing. It's you know, we played in a band together. It's sort of a metal band, like metal punk band.
Yeah.
For a number of years. We did a couple of tours, went on the road when we were pretty young. So that kind of creates a bond. And it also really helps because we don't always get along creatively, but when you know each other for that long, and our whole friendship is built on creative collaboration. So we can argue for hours and it's no big deal. At the end, we'll have a better idea. So
yeah, it's been that, I think, since beginning, since we started making music, and now with the shoes as well. We have pretty big arguments sometimes, but it stays like that. It's just an argument, and afterwards we can still get along. But it's what Robin said. It makes our product and our way of thinking better, I think.
There's a saying in Dutch. I don't know if you have it in English or if it's common, but you know, from friction, something will shine, and that's
I have heard that actually when I worked in South Africa for a couple of years and worked with a number of people that spoke Afrikaans, and that's a saying there. I've come across it there, not here in the States. It's a good saying.
Yeah, it's true, definitely.
I was going to ask if you guys were Walloons or where, because you're both from Belgium, correct?
Yeah.
And what city are you in?
We're in the city of Hasselt right now. That's where I live. Robin lives in Genk. It's a city very nearby. Yeah. And we're from the Flanders part of Belgium. So
so you are from Flemish. Yeah. Okay. Very cool.
Flemish people. Flemish.
Very cool. I've traveled quite a bit. Belgium is one of my absolute favorite countries.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you should come over and
absolutely.
We'll go and grab a bite somewhere.
And Belgian food, and let me tell you, Belgian, you don't need to be told, but my absolute favorite beers are Belgian beers.
We're very lucky to have loads of Belgian beers. The funny thing is, Robin is not a big beer fan. He doesn't drink, but I am. We're very lucky to have loads of beers.
But correction to that, I don't drink, but I am a beer fan. Like from a branding perspective, I really like beer. And actually, and you mostly don't like me saying this, but I think Belgium, for having such great traditional historic beer brands, is kind of behind in the craft beer scene.
Oh,
we've argued about. See, we're going to argue again about this.
Well, and I'm coming from San Diego, California. We have more craft breweries than any other city in the world.
Yeah.
So we really there were some craft brewers, obviously, but the movement really did take off here. Sorry, Portland and other cities. In fact, I'm an investor in a craft brewery with some friends of mine from college.
Okay.
It's just something you do here. You know, everybody.
It's just a hobby to have.
Every little neighborhood has got its own craft brewery, and each one of those craft brewers has their specific beers that they make that reflect that little community. And it's something very special about San Diego.
Okay.
Because there's
I've been to San Diego, and a friend, Well, no, I've been to San Diego and in Orange County. I think I
Yeah,
went with a friend, took me on a tour. Well, my wife and I he took my wife and I on a tour to different breweries. But it's very typical in California that every brewery also has like a bar most of the time.
it's part of, so they have, so a true microbrewery is typically not allowed to serve food. They are a tasting room, so they will have a bar to taste from. But there are microbreweries that grow and then morph into restaurant bar type of scene. And now we're getting quite a few distillers here, which is pretty exciting. Some of the guys that were successful at creating breweries have sold them and have plowed back what they made into creating distilleries. So there's one, for instance, Old Harbor, that a friend of mine has started a few years ago, and they're making gin and rum, and Cutwater is another one that's becoming actually nationally and known throughout North America. So it's exciting. You know, it's a very cool time to be in making crafting, to be covering it. It's also, I'm in the process of writing, I just wrote an article that I've submitted to the Huffington Post on bringing respect back to retailing and between brands and consumers, customers, and between retail and customers. And so much has been lost. And I've been doing a lot of research on it because I've been curious, as, you know, boutiques, as department stores, as here in the States, shopping malls have been dying one after another. It's like the art of retailing, the art of branding, and even the art of being a customer have withered away. And what we're left with is, I mean, I just made a road trip up to San Luis Obispo up in Central California last weekend. I passed nearly, I think, between 10 and 12 massive warehouses being built. And they're being built for the return of product that people are buying online. And they're returning it. You know, one of the stats I came across and have it in my article, this recent Christmas shopping season, out of the total product purchased online, 40% of it was returned. And 50% of that which was returned is going to go directly into our landfills. It's trashed. Brand new product, not used. 10% of the product is actually stolen by customers and repackaged. They'll put an old pair of something or a junk pair of headphones back in a new headphone box and send it back, knowing that the, you know, Amazon, whoever they bought it through, the retailers are overwhelmed with returns. So something's got to change, you know, in this respect. They're building right now, what was the stat? 100 million square meters of warehouse space in the United States just to handle our returns. That's freaking crazy. There's something wrong.
I think that's also part of, especially like real big online e-tailers like Amazon, and we've got, I don't know if you've got ASOS in the United States.
Oh yeah.
So they're from the UK originally, so we got them here. We got a really big one in Germany and continental Europe called Zalando, which is it's like ASOS, it's clothing, and it's famous that they, you know, put a lot of stuff straight into the incinerator when it gets returned. But, you know, it's all very fast fashion, that kind of stuff.
Oh, it is.
But the thing is, it does create like a sense with a lot of consumers that this is normal consumer behavior in this day and age. But obviously it isn't, you know, because most independent brands like ourselves, being a fairly new one, you know, we absolutely can't have that. So we are really strict. Now, obviously, you know, we got a crafted product. It is, although we're very competitive, we have very competitive pricing, it is a considerable amount. So people think before they buy. And we are very strict. We communicate it, like, you know, we got, I don't know if you can see this. For example, this is one that the lighting is a little bit. We've got like on every shoe, we got like return conditions, and we pretty much warn the customer, you know, please be careful with trying the shoe on. Yes. Don't start walking around it, because you'll crease them and you'll mess up the soles, and you can't return them. You can fit them, see if they fit right. But if we're not strict in it, then we're adding to a very unsustainable world, and we'll get shoes back that, especially, that's the thing. It's also the online consumer that is the most critical. If somebody in a shoe store walks around with it and it's got a couple of creases, they put it back on the shelf, the next guy won't mind. But if you get something in your home out of a package and it's not crisp and new and perfect, you're not paying full price for that. So, we inform our customers, but we always explain the reasoning behind it. And, with a brand like ours, for example, a small independent brand, you tend to draw in a customer base that's on the same level as you, that gets that.
That's right.
I think there's definitely work to be done in the mainstream, like you were just talking about. And it's probably not an easy challenge to overcome, I think.
It definitely is. And like I said, it changes, the customer's perception. They become, in a way, they have this sense of, well, I should be able to return things easily. I should be able to get my money back. I should, and certainly there's a responsibility on everybody's part. There's a responsibility as well for us as customers, to research, to listen, to talk with people. I mean, I get 30 to 40 messages a day about, what do you think of the fit of these? What's your opinion of this? Those are the types of customers that really you want, because they're asking. I'm also a teacher on the side, and I do quite a bit of training, of my students in who do you ideally target as your first customer. The most important customer is that customer that's going to invest what I call 3 T's. It's time, treasure, and talent. So what's the time? The time element is to consider, to research, to ask people, right? The treasure is to actually purchase and actually wear. I came across, in fact, a statistic in Belgium. 88% of the items in Belgian closets aren't worn by the owners. Yeah. 88% is just sitting in the closet. And I'm sure the United States is no better. But I tried to look at statistics in multiple countries. So to actually wear it, to use it, and then that talent side is what very few think about. It's the feedback that you get from that customer. It's that customer telling other customers about the product. It's them spreading the word about it, So that 3T, that time, treasure, talent customer is absolutely, that's the golden customer to achieve, to earn, and to keep. I think too many companies, even smaller startups, even smaller crafted brands, don't understand that off the bat. That's really vital.
Absolutely. There's something we have really noticed. We launched our pre-order in October. Yeah. Very happy to do so after up to 4 years of development. We did a lot of development before we got it right. We had some momentum. We had some local press coverage and stuff. And then we got into a bunch of, obstacles and problems.
I've read about,
Yeah, we had for instance, our inside soles that, a lot of materials we use are actually from in-house in the factory, because the agency and the factory we work with has a great collection of materials. That's part of the reason we chose to work with them. So for instance, this sole is something that we supply to the factory. And, we wanted to finish everything up before Christmas, and it was already taking a long time at customs since Brexit, Yes. It's an all other story, but also an absolute mess. So I was calling with customs in Barcelona every day for more than 10 days straight, asking them, please clear this, please move this ahead. It finally did. It still looked like we were going to make it in time. And then like in the delivery truck on the way to the factory, I think like 5 miles from the factory or something, the truck had an accident. The whole thing burned down, and we got
I couldn't
delay.
Honestly, you guys, I couldn't believe. I mean, just seeing that, my heart, my mind went out to you. It was like, oh my God.
Yeah, you can imagine how that felt for us after already struggling with the deadline, and then
I mean, that's
happening.
That's a gut punch right
Yeah,
there.
definitely. But the thing was, we had different small delays, but all things that were fixable.
Yeah.
Then we had like the custom delay at the customs, which was, and I have to say, specifically the customs in Barcelona, or I don't know, maybe there's some bad blood since Brexit or something, but if we import something from England today to Belgium, it'll clear in like 24 hours. It takes 10 to 14 days in Spain. I don't know why, it's just really annoying. But so we went through that, and obviously those are things that are just part of the challenge of starting a brand.
Right.
But when I got the phone call from the people from Inside, from the sole company, they're like, hey, your soles, the truck was in an accident. We haven't heard yet if they are recoverable. So I was thinking, well, if it's a small accident, they're made of rubber, they're in a wooden crate, they're probably just fine. And this guy, he goes online, he uses Google Translate to translate from Dutch to Spanish, and he's looking on Google for like truck accident, Valencia, Almanza, Alicante, and the first thing that pops up is a picture of a truck on fire. And we were joking like, that's not the truck, that's not ours.
That doesn't look like a truck that would transport what we are delivering. So
yeah.
And then like the weekend went by, and I get a phone call again from Inside, and they say, yeah, the whole thing went up in flames. I'm sending you some pictures now. And the pictures showed it was the exact accident that we saw in the newspaper from Valencia. It was, at that point, you just have to laugh with it. The universe is trying to pull a prank on you or something.
I think we do that pretty well. We have had struggles, and we try to look at it with a sense of humor, because you just need to have that look in life, because otherwise you'll burn yourself to death.
Yeah.
This guy worries a little bit more than I do, but
he's better at relaxing than I am.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, we are both creative guys, each in their own way, but that's in essence what we are, and we are really trying to be good entrepreneurs. Yeah. But like for me, it's sometimes difficult to not see the personal in business. Like all these people, these customers, a lot of which I don't know, and some people from across the globe have put their trust in us. And for us to have to contact them and explain time and time again that there was something, after the accident that moved things ahead. Then there was a really big COVID surge in Spain, and things got pushed even further. Yeah. And, I lay awake at night, with the sense of shame. Like, oh my God, these people.
Not to correlate, but actually, look at Porsche, Audi, Porsche, Audi, Lamborghini. Yeah, Bentley and Volkswagen, that ship that caught on fire off the Azores and then sunk. 4,000 cars, $335 million of stock. And now what's happening here in the States is the dealers have been pushing up already the prices, but now to get a Porsche, to get an Audi, to get a high-end Volkswagen, to get a Bentley, you're paying $60,000 to $120,000 more, because that happened, because it creates a shock in the whole supply chain. So for you guys to be able to recover from that and to keep moving on we're
still recovering, basically.
Yeah.
We still, we were supposed to get the entire stock basically at the end of December. Now that became very obvious wasn't going to happen. And, our manufacturer and we have no ill feelings towards them. You know, they've been struggling with COVID. It's a small scale operation. It's a family run business, that factory. You know, factory in itself is a big word for this kind of business. The shoes are Goodyear welded. It's a traditional construction method. For some steps of the process, there might be like 2 or 3 guys in the entire factory that know how to do that. So if even one of them tests positive for COVID and they get sent home, even if they're not really sick, but obviously they get sent home.
Right.
And everything is disrupted, you know, and, you know, being, you know, we're always very transparent. Obviously, we're not the only brand producing shoes in this factory.
Yeah.
So they got to work for everybody. So we've been getting stock in like each time 50 pairs or less, sometimes even. We're still waiting for the final shipment, hopefully next week.
Yeah.
We've been able to deliver most pre-orders at this point, which we're really happy with. But some people are still waiting since October. Most of them are pretty understanding. Also because we've, you know, the time that we spent marketing up until the pre-order, we've been building a community and audience with the type of customer that you just described, you know, the 3 T's. So most of those people, you know, they actually send very supportive replies when we communicate there's a delay or a problem. It's just a couple of people, especially people who picked up in like a local newspaper, did like an article on us. So it's people that don't really have a bond with us.
Yeah.
Sometimes people that have never heard of a pre-order before. So it's kind of weird for them to wait just as a concept. Yeah. But all over, you know, you gotta say, at first when we had these issues, I was kind of worried we would have like a bunch of cancellations, but it's been really good. Most people are supportive, happy to wait, and especially in the past weeks, since we've been delivering the first boots and shoes, you know, people have gotten back to us, said how much they liked the shoe, how much it was worth waiting for. So that's been really great for us to, you know, get out of this stressy mindset and just enjoy it. Because at the end of the day, you know, it's gotta, you know, of course it's gotta be work and serious, and it takes a lot of dedication. But there has to be enough fun for us, because otherwise, why would we do it?
Why would you do it? Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking with Martin in Poland.
Oh yeah.
And he's ecstatic about him. So it's great to see them on.
Yeah, Martin actually he won a contest we did like a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, just to be clear, it's a pre-order contest. You have to wait 2 months, and that turned into 5 months. But yeah, he's been posting a lot of pictures with them. He has a great style, and it's, you know, those, you know, Martin himself is kind of an influencer, you know, he's somebody who posts a lot, but that's one thing that's, it's not really a shame, but most regular average male consumers aren't going to post pictures of their shoes on Instagram. You know, it's different from a female audience, somewhat at least. So it's great when people post pictures and we see the way they style them, and it's very, very satisfactory for us, definitely.
Yeah. I'll tell you though, it's so much better now than it was just 7 years ago. I was working with 2 partners from MIT, and we were launching a fashion technology that we had developed. It was basically a super accurate 93% accuracy, which was rated by Harrods and Macy's and Nordstrom and numerous brands, to recommend certain brand product and to guys. And we developed a game. So we were the ones that developed that game, Which Minion Are You? We were doing that like back in 2012, 13. So that was us. We were learning how to gamify selection, basically. And it was funny because of my 3 partners, you know, I was the one that was most into like style, and I had worked with a number of brands. And I remember at one point, one of my partners had a cool new pair of sneakers, and I said to him, "Whose are those?" And he looks at me and he flashed around and he's like, "They're mine." And I was like, wow. What? He's like, that's a weird question. I was like, no, it's not. It's what brand are those? Like, and we started laughing because he was like, oh shit, that's what we face. And it really was like, we had a social aspect that we designed into it, and we had to yank it out because to get guys to ask guys about shoes, like to get, I mean, I was traveling and I was working in Paris for my other work while I was developing this company. And my girlfriend, then fiance, and I, when we were traveling around, I would have to ask her, I'd be like, can you go up and ask that guy what his jacket, what boots is he wearing, etc. Because I was always on the lookout for what people were wearing. But to be a guy and to do that was just like, whoa, you can't do that. And she used to get so pissed off. And then she would just be like, she'd like tease, you know, me, like go up to the guy and act like she was flirting instead of just asking what his boots were. But it's gotten so much better. I mean, 2013, 14, when Instagram first started, we were first on there. You just didn't have guys talking to each other about, you know, even, I mean, saying stuff like those look hot on you. That would have been like unbelievable to say that just 7 or 8 years ago. So it has changed, fortunately, quite a bit.
Yeah, I've noticed that, and also very happy with that.
I've
always been that way with people, and not to get into that area, but you know, it's like 10 years ago, if I would say to some guy, hey, great looking sweater, looks great on you.
Boom, you want a date. Yeah.
So you're bisexual or something?
Yeah.
And oh man, that's so cringy when people, you know, what the hell are you talking about? You know,
and for women, it's not been that way. It was like, you know, women had the liberty, the freedom to ask that question. We didn't, you know.
Yeah, one of the first things I said today to Robin when he came in was like, wow, you're wearing a great shirt. Where did you get that from? Like, well, maybe it's because we're partners and we're doing this type of thing that is even more natural for us, but I don't know.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, both of us are just really passionate about design. And if you look at the Dutch word for design is toegepaste kunst, which means applied art with an application.
Yes.
I love that idea. That's what design is, you know. I'm into art, sort of.
Yes.
We went to art school, you know, in high school at least. But I'm much more into design. The idea that art that has a priority goal of not being appreciated by art, but something else. Like a shoe has a design, but its first goal is to protect your feet.
Right.
So the utilitarian aspect of design, you know, I just love that. So, and then in that aspect, you know, I think it's really normal. Everything you have on your body is designed by somebody. So
that's right.
It makes all the sense to ask about it and to appreciate it. Hey, that's a great design. That looks cool. So I'm definitely happy that it has changed for the better, at least.
Totally agree. And I think, you know, one of the, I mean, of contemporary companies that really led in that way, Apple, where, you know, you guys are probably familiar with Dieter Rams, who is the chief designer behind Braun, the German company. Look up Dieter Rams. You will go nuts. Dieter Rams is, so Braun, you know, that make the shavers, that make all the electronics equipments and whatnot. He's the master designer.
Yeah, no, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So he speaks very much the same way about design theory, in fact. And I do quite a bit of that with my students and also in my mentoring, is doing away with the sense that a product is either form or function, and that a product is both form and function.
Yeah.
You know, and the two, when they are completely interrelated, you can't imagine, you know, a shoe or a computer being designed in any other way. You know, you know, that's like when I look at your designs, they're pure. You know, it's just you see the design thinking in that purity. And that's not, you don't find that very often, that there is that design purity. And I think what's beautiful about that for many customers that feel overwhelmed, you know, especially guys. I mean, that's one of the things the main reason that we developed this StyleSeek, that company I was mentioning to you, was that guys, the majority of guys were overwhelmed. I mean, I know a chief designer, he's designed Airstream trailers, Embraer jets, he's designed Nissans, everything from what is that little funny car, the Poke, I think it's called, to their transit vans. And he's an incredible industrial designer. But when it comes down to clothing, he was one of the guys that we sat down with, and he said, I have to buy from the mannequin. Unless I'm with my sister or a female friend or my mother, I have to buy from the mannequin because I can't make decisions. It's too overwhelming. Yeah. So there is, in a sense, a beauty to, you know, simplicity of design as well.
Definitely. That's definitely one of the, I don't want to say trademarks, but one of the goals we have. Yeah. Funny thing, the first designs, they were made by me with pencil and paper, and then he digitized them and we changed them around in Illustrator. And then obviously, you know, the Lost Maker through Shape and the pattern makers in the factory, they all have their influence. It's a collaborative effort. But I remember when I was already big into dress shoes, and he wasn't that much, or for a part, I remember you in the beginning, you weren't really into brogues, like brogue shoes.
Yes.
He became a lot afterwards, but I remember that inspiring me. Like on the Chieftain boot, we have this like double stitch. Yes. And the spacing in between them is exactly the space you would need for a line of broguing decorations. Nice. But I took those out. I was like, how about I design, not by adding things, but by taking things away and just, you know, being very specific with certain details. Like we kept like the serrated edges on this part. We have this part which is like a pebble green leather that's a little bit, it lays a little bit more deep. Very simple details, but you get something that's unique, but unique in a very nuanced way. Mm-hmm. And I think this, again, to come back to your point of that type of customer that puts in the time, that's looking for something that resonates with them. Right. It is small details and not flashy things that really connect and resonate with them. So,
yeah. I mean, it was the Brawler was the first, I think, of your shoes that I saw. And the thing that struck me, it reminded me of some of my favorite brogues I bought like probably 20 years ago, some Gucci Ice brogues. And then I found, and I'm not a Gucci buyer by any stretch of the imagination typically, but these were so beautiful and simple. And then I found them, I tracked them down in blue, in indigo color. And I wear them with shorts, I wear them, you know, with jeans, like I dress them down. And I always enjoyed that aspect of like a really beautiful shoe. Alden's, same thing. Yeah. You know, people would look and say, oh my God, you're wearing Alden's with jeans or, you know, shorts. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's,
sure, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. If you take like a design like the Brawler, because it is such a minimal design, there's such an absence of lines and parts, you know. It is like in Oxford, you'll have like a hole cut Oxford, and this technically is called a blucher pattern. Mm-hmm. It's the equivalent of that. It's it's one piece of leather except for these parts here.
Yes.
So just like I remember, like part of the brief to the factory and the pattern maker is like the exact curvature of this was so important because it's the only thing that stands out.
Right.
But when you have such a simple pattern and simple design, the materials speak, the grain of the leather.
Yes.
You know, it becomes such a feature, the shape. And for us, that's something we worked, you know, the whole development, years of development we did, a lot of it went into making the perfect last. First we tried in Portugal, but we didn't click with the last maker. Then we went to Michael James, which is like the head designer in Springline.
Yeah.
Basically,
so you went to the UK for that. Yeah.
Yeah. We went to the OG of last makers in the world, you know, in Northampton.
We felt like we needed that because with a shoe like the Brawler, the shape is the thing that speaks most almost.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people don't even think about it. And I just, last week I was on a different podcast and I explained to the guy, like, a lot of people don't know, but most shoe startups don't design shoes. They'll just pick factory standard collections and last and slap their name on it. That's pretty much it. But we designed everything, well, ourselves or in collaboration with other creatives. But the shape is, we get people just sending us emails. I love the Brawler. I love its shape.
Yeah.
And for some people who aren't really into shoes or designed anything, or they'll be like, who cares? It's the same as any other shoe, but obviously it's not,
No.
Like the exact curvature and the toe box and the way it transitions and all those like fundamental things just speak to you when you have a very pure and simple design.
Yeah, that's right. So in selecting the materials too, your leather sources are there in Europe. Are they Italian, Spanish? Where do you go?
So let me just refresh my mind. I think most we're using now come from a little tannery in Serbia. They've got,
cool.
there's like one or two decent tanneries there that produce very high quality leather. And the thing is, like, in Europe, most tanneries, not all, but most tanneries, the minimum quantities you have to order is, for a startup like us, just way too high. So we made prototypes of shoes with 4 different factories before we ended up with our current partner.
Yeah.
And one of the parameters, we had to stick with this. Can they make the shoe? Can they make the pattern? But what is their in-house collection of materials? Because we're going to need to use those. We don't have the budget to source directly from tanneries. Outsoles and stuff we can do directly, but not leather. So the people we are working with now have a great collection of materials. They keep adding stuff, outsoles as well. So we're still supplying some ourselves, but they've got just a great collection of leather, and that's part of the reason that we chose to work with them. Like the chieftains and the kaisers, which are rogues, they're all made on a cross-based calf leather. And the Brawlers are made on a box calf. And the difference is mainly in the coloring. Box calf gets colored at the tannery, while cross calf gets colored by shoemakers at the shoe factory.
Okay.
One's not better than the other, it's just a difference. Well, for example, box calf is sort of a common leather in the European dress shoe industry. But the varieties of quality is like huge. You can have horrible box calf, you can have great box calf, everything in between. So for us, again, in such a simple design, the leather needs to stand out. There are some cheaper options where they will take less good hides, sand them down, put a coating on it. And a coating is a fancy word for a plastic layer. Basically, that's what it comes down to. Which creases horrible. It's just not nice.
Terrible.
Would be cheaper, obviously, but so we didn't want to compromise on the quality of the leather. So that was a very important choice for us, also in choosing the manufacturer, because we're using their stock leathers, but they got a huge stock. So.
Right. Can you tell us, can we look back at the Brawler and tell us a bit about the sole and some of the choices that you made?
Yeah. So with the Brawler, we wanted to make like a shoe that had a lot of attitude, especially the black one. When you have a black one on the what we call the raw welt, so it's not dyed or very little dyed. You get this big contrast, and it's I know for us it sort of has like a punk rock vibe. It kind of looks like a very London-esque working class neighborhood, cobblestone roads kind of vibe. So that's the essence of the design basically. And we were thinking of the idea, do we want to do a leather sole? Because leather soles really aren't that popular anymore, and we understand why, because they're slippery and they have a very different break-in feel. So we went with this one, which is one that our manufacturer was part in developing. It's a leather sole, but it has these injected rubber lugs, which adds traction. But, you know, it is still a leather sole, so it has.
You get the look of the leather sole, but you get that traction. I know. I when I first moved, I moved to Denmark to live and work in 2017, and I made the mistake of bringing some leather soled to Alden's, in fact, that I brought with me. And the first time I went home, they all went back with me, because cobblestone in Denmark, I mean, it's always wet. Even when it's not raining, it's still damp, you know. So I realized I got to take these back.
I think you have lots of cobblestones in all European cities, also the city where we live. And leather is just maybe a little bit too slippery.
Yeah. The thing is, leather is slippery on any surface, basically.
Yeah.
The thing is, back in the day, it was the only sole that existed. You know, I was watching a podcast the other day with the guy from Brand Stone, which is a cool brand from Michigan, I think. They're really into leather soles, and they admit that most of their customers, they want, you know, rubber or day-night type soles.
Right.
But he made the point, it was very interesting. He said, you know, people used to climb mountains on leather soles, you know. And the thing is, when you get used to them, because these have traction, but the way they bend or lack thereof, you know, they're pretty hard leather soles. You get used to it, but you'll hold your feet in a different way. It's a different way of walking. So I love the look. I love the feel. We were just discussing today that in some future makeups, we'll probably also be doing some brawlers that have a day-night sole, because basically also because of popular demand. It's a very popular sole. It's a simple, casual, but rubber sole. So we're definitely keeping those options open. But for this first one, we wanted to go with what we think is a little bit an iconic look, just because you get this like thick, light color sole that really contrasts with the upper.
Right. Yeah, I like the idea of the day-night too, because it would be a more casual, for, you know, outwardly casual, rugged look to it, which I think would accommodate really well.
Yeah.
So tell us about. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, my cat is walking around.
Oh, I was wondering what that was earlier. I saw. So tell us about what else you have in front of you.
So, we the chieftains we already took a look at. The brawlers we talked about, and these are our Kaisers. They're our broke model. The thing I love about the Kaisers is that you still have the shape of the last that we put so much energy in developing, and it shows the patterns. I think it shows the patterns best, especially if you see like a top-down view, the way that it's symmetrical, but not really symmetrical, because our last isn't symmetrical. I think that accentuates that, and we're really happy with how it came out. Also with day-night rubber sole.
Yeah, I think we're just damn cat. We were discussing for a long time, you know. We have a bunch of designs. We have this Chelsea boot on paper, you know, not developed.
Okay.
So early on, we decided, okay, these are the shoes we're gonna do. We're gonna do one boot, plain toe. We're gonna do a wingtip derby and a classic blue shirt pattern. And we decided we're gonna start with 2 colorways each. And on the Kaiser, we kept going back and forth. What is it we want to do? And then we thought, let's go for one that's really rugged, which is this one. It's dark brown. It's called pebble gray. It's got the commando sole. but also it's got
Great.
4 eyelets, like large brass eyelets.
Okay.
And on this one, we did 5 blind eyelets, just making it a little bit more classy.
A little bit different. I'm very sorry.
And the color it has, and this is, I have to say that our shoemakers in Spain are very good at this like hand painting, burnishing.
It's beautiful, the burnishing on the toe box. I love it.
Yeah. So this is probably the most dressy one, although, you know, by old standards, a brogue is a casual shoe. These days, people look at a brogue and because of the decorations, they see it as a real dress shoe. We're just talking about it today that perhaps his brother who's getting married is gonna be married in these. It looks likely. But still, you know, you could easily wear them with jeans, and that's like important for us. You know, our mantra is rugged refined, or we make refined footwear for the rugged individual. And even though it's a spectrum, like I would say this is the most, the brown Brawler is what I would consider the most working class-esque shoe. Yeah. You know, it's a really utilitarian looking shoe. This might be the most dressy, but still because of the robust shape and the toe box, they're pretty versatile. I think you could get away with wearing this with a suit, and you could definitely get away with wearing this with denim. So and that's pretty much the benchmark for every design.
What inspired the name of the naming of each model?
Oh, okay, of the models. Yeah, the thing is, like in my day job, I'm a brand strategist, and I also take part in coming up with brand names and product names. It's just something I've always done, I guess. Yeah. I have a lot of experience giving names to pets, from rabbits and cats and parrots since I was a kid. Well, I'm pretty sure the first name was the Brawler, which is a name that people really resonate with. They think it really sounds cool. Yeah. And the thing is, like I talked before, that this kind of has like a punk rock. It does. It has attitude. It's kind of like, I would imagine, so I don't know if you've been to Limerick in Ireland. No. Okay, you've got to go to Limerick. So I was in Limerick a few years ago, and I was on my own. I had taken my nephews on a trip, and they went back earlier, and I stayed on a few days. And I went and explored in Limerick, and I went by myself, and I wanted to get a haircut. So I walked into town, go into this place, and the guy's like, "You're not from here." And I said, "No." He said, "You're American." And he said, "How did you get here?" And I said, "Well, I drove." And he said, "No, but how did you get into the shop here?" And I said, "Well, I walked." And he said, "And you didn't get your ass kicked?" And I said, "No, didn't get my ass kicked." And it was funny because then a couple of other people came in and they started chatting with me, and everybody was like, "And how did you get here?" And I said, "Well, I just walked." And they said, "And you didn't get your ass kicked?" And I'm like, "What is it? I'm 1.88 meters. I'm not like a little guy." And they said, "No, but if you're not from here, you might just as well get your ass kicked." And I'm like, I don't know what it is about Limerick, but that is probably a Limerick shoe. Absolutely. Wow, that's such a great story, because I remember back in the day when, so I had to, you know, because this is such a minimal pattern, when I drew it with pencil on paper, it didn't say enough. So I was explaining to him, he had to digitize this shoe and color it. Yeah. I told him, it's the shoe on the guy in the bar that you're thinking about. Don't look him straight in the eyes, because you'll get into a fight. Right. So that story you just told, it's like crazy that you would see it in that. I've also said, it's the shoe on the foot of the guy that's about to kick you in the nuts. Like, that's how it looks. And the worst thing is, you guys are perverse to have done that, because that's the shoe that a guy's going to go and he's going to want to look at that shoe. And then the guy's going to kick his ass because he's staring at the guy's shoes. It's very mean. Yeah, wasn't intentional. But it was a setup. But that's so funny that you would, you know, that's why I think we nailed it with the shoe. Because you did, because the first time I saw it, and you've put it against, I have to say too, the backdrop of, like, you know, brick stairs and, you know, a block wall and stone. You nailed it. I was like, that's perfect.
where you guys have it, because it's like a blockhouse type.
Yeah.
It really resonated. I have to say that, you know, of course, most of the time I talk about boots, but I have to say that was like the one that resonated with me. I was like, shit, that is that. And it reminded me of like just a tough, you know, a tough part of town.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah,
thing.
we have like a document with our core values and stuff, just to remind ourselves. It's not something that's public, but to remind ourselves, we want to imply these facets in our designs, but also take that to photography and to our videos. And there's we wouldn't ever do like a studio shoot with someone wearing shoes that doesn't fit our brand. We want to see the guy walking the streets, like taking on the pavements of the world. And
to add on that, we told before we're from Belgium, we're from the north part, Flanders. But more specifically, we're from Limburg, which is a part in the east, and it's kind of like the Wales of Belgium. It used to be all coal mines. My dad used to be a miner. His grandfather came from Sardinia in Italy to work here in the coal mines, and that's another part of the story of our story, and also behind the name of Lennertson. It's a story of our parents and our heritage, and what is typical for us is that we come from very typical working class families, and that's, you know, also again, it's not a phrase that we use in our copywriting. It's not public, but I've always said, like, if we would describe our style, it's a refined working class aesthetic. So I see it as old industrial cities, cobblestones, brick walls, brick chimneys. It's a little rough, but rough, real, and cold, and it's just who we are, where we come from. And I think the Brawler as a shoe, as a design, really matches with that. And to take it back to your original question, where do the names come from? So the Brawler comes from that idea. And I remember, like years ago, I was thinking, like, I want to do something with a style brand, perhaps shoes, perhaps something else. And I had a different wording for it. I was like, I want something to look street brawl chic. Like, it wasn't an idea, and that's where the Brawler came from. And then, you know, just to keep consistency, I was like, I want words, preferably with 2 syllables, that describe a person or something. So with the boot, Chieftain just sounded very well because it has like a presence. It's like the boss of all the other shoes. And with the Kaiser, you know, even though a Brogue used to be a casual dress shoe, these days I think it looks a little regal. So I was looking for I started with the idea of the king, you know, like a royal type. And then I just kept looking for words that were a little bit like royal, but a little fringe. And I ended up with the Kaiser, and I was like, yeah, that kind of matches it. So
that's right.
All the other designs we've made on paper, also all of them have names. I haven't looked at them for like 2 years because they're from early on in the development, but
and probably will take years before they are going to see the world, or the world is going to see them.
Some of them at least, yes, definitely.
Have you ever seen the American car? I think it's a 1956 Pontiac Chieftain.
No.
You need to look it up. It's one of the most iconic and absolutely spectacular cars. I think it's a 56, if I'm not mistaken. I'm a car nut, in vintage cars.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Included, but if you look up Pontiac Chieftain, one of the things that's really iconic is the hood ornament.
I'm looking at it. Yeah,
spectacular. And I've seen those, you know, the hood ornaments turned into light fixture. I have a friend who has one that's really ratted out. I mean, you know, it's got the original paint patina. It's like nutty looking. It's so beautiful in its originality. But yeah, the Chieftain definitely took me to that as well.
Yeah, so some are there's I think a famous American tank that's called a Chieftain as well,
I
or a
think,
helicopter. I
yeah.
can't remember.
Is it a helicopter? I want to say it's a helicopter. Yeah,
I don't really remember, but when I came up with this Chieftain, I was like, that's probably something that's more in use. But for a product name, I don't really care if it fits. It fits. But the
yeah,
brawler definitely, I've noticed that that's something I'm really happy with from a naming perspective. That people really pick up their names. They'll send us messages or just online on Instagram. They're not talking about your blucher or your boot or your brogue. They're talking
right.
about the brawler, the Kaiser,
That's
and the
right.
chieftain. And especially the brawler, we've noticed that people really like that name. So, and the story you told us, it's crazy. It matches it so well. So
Yeah,
definitely a success there.
Yeah,
yeah.
and also
It's
I'm usually confused, not confused, but impressed. Like people when they walk up to me and they talk about shoes, like they already picked up on the names, even though they might not be a potential client or just a friend of mine or whatever. But I'm always impressed. Like wow, they know the names of all our models, and it's
yeah. Well,
I think
that's
you
excellent.
did a great
Oh
job.
well, yeah. Well dressed dad. I think he's out of Norway, if I'm not mistaken.
Nick, yeah.
He said Chieftain is a tank.
Okay.
So
Okay,
there's
thanks,
our
Nick.
answer. Yeah, yeah.
Thanks for dropping in.
Well, that's awesome. Love what you guys are up to. Looking forward to seeing. So, what are your kind of priorities from a
Going forward.
yeah, moving forward? Actually, I'd love to know. I mean, I'm sure things are challenging as ever, but what are some of the things that you're most excited about for 22 and 23? What's on your dream list, if you will?
Dream list is a hard thing to answer, but one of the things that
What is inspiring you guys, I guess, moving forward? I hate to ask about challenges because there's so many challenges today, and yeah.
Well, I think it's two parts. So we've talked about this just today, that the fact that we've been problem managing so much the past months that it's time that we look ahead for some things that are fun and exciting. One thing we just announced yesterday, we're going to be part of the Heritage Post trade show.
Great.
I don't know if you know the
Of
Heritage
course.
Post magazine.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
so they're
amazing.
doing their first. Yeah, they're doing a first trade show, and first it's just going to be cool to be part of it. But I think for the people who are putting it up, the show, and all the brands that are going to be there, and the people who visit the show, after COVID, finally something in real life where you can connect with people. Where and we also talked about today that especially our burnished shoes like the Tan, Kaiser, and Brogue.
Yeah.
People like them, but anytime somebody sees it in real life, they say, "Oh, wow!" The depth of color you can't convey it in a photograph. So it'll be really cool to get people's real life reaction to it. So that's one thing, and we're thinking about perhaps doing some kind of pop-up shops. Although we're an online brand, we want to do a lot of physical stuff offline because we just feel like it. So.
Oh, there's nothing, nothing beats, being face to face and having people touch and feel the shoes and whatnot. I'm trying to plan probably for the fall. I'm going to do like a boot and denim hang at my mountain house. Okay, because I want to get people together. I mean, there's so many people that we just haven't, it's been so long in and out of, restrictions and lockdowns and everything else. It would be really good to get together with people. I'm going to be going on the road in June, July, and August. I'm going to be staying at my place in Wyoming, and I'm going to be going up to my family's place in Idaho. And in between, I'm going to meet with makers and do this show on the road, basically. Cool. So I'm super excited about that. Yeah.
One of the things that I think we're both very excited about, because we are both creators, We're probably going to make some new samples of possible future models. Think about what things would work, and something that I think we're both very excited about.
Yeah, because in the end, in essence, we're about design. So
yeah,
we've been designing these initial styles for such a long time. I almost forgot what it feels like to finally see a finished shoe that you've only known as an illustration before. So the first couple of samples probably not going to be complete new styles, but the same ones in different materials, because again, they're pure and simple designs.
right.
The materials have to speak. So probably going to do some suede. We're looking into wax suede as a material that I think will lend itself really well for our brand.
Definitely.
We got a bunch of other ideas. We're going to probably sample them, put them on social and other places, get some feedback, and then decide, which ones we're actually going to put into production. So that's definitely one that we're excited about. Just create new and exciting designs, and be able to wear them ourselves, and in the future, hopefully, also offer them to other people. Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, we'll be looking for more to come, and keep sharing it out. Keep those videos coming too. They're, like I said, just great. The making of that one, you guys nailed it. It's so good.
Thank you.
You mean the long one? The
17-minute one. It doesn't seem that long. And getting to know like the names of the people that are working, on the different aspects. Oh, a question from AZ Codito. Any cap toe 6-inch boot style?
At this moment, not. I think we're not really that much into cap toes. We might do them in the future, and I think it's because we spend so much time developing the Lost and the toe box shape.
Yeah,
we love it so much, and it that just gets way more attention and shine when you use a plain toe.
That's right.
So as of now, no plans. Obviously, somewhere down the line, we're probably going to do a cap toe somewhere. I would love a cap toe Oxford, like make it a chunk looking, like heavy looking Oxford, not a classic one. I would love that. A boot, perhaps the Chieftain, because it's so subtle and minimal. We could easily just add a cap toe here and create like a new hybrid design. I think that works pretty well. But we'll see. As of now, no.
I agree. I personally have a soft spot for plain toe boots. One of my favorites is the Alden plain toe. I've got that in 3 different colors. I mean, it's a boot that I'm addicted to.
Yeah. So. Yeah, we're always keeping it real. We're trying to do our own thing, but obviously Alden, as well as a brand, that's an inspiration for us. It is an influence. Especially their cordovan styles are really cool. They've got an interesting Lost as well. Alden, looking at boots, I would say the most typical American boot brands are like the Pacific Northwest brands, and maybe even including Viber, even though that's Canadian. Yeah. And like Alden is, in my opinion, I hope I'm not offending anyone, but Alden for me is like the English looking boot brand in America. And they're in New England, so
it's
maybe
very New England. Yeah, we look at it as being very much Maine, New England's Massachusetts kind of
And if you look at, and I talked about the Alden Lost with Michael, because I'm a real nerd about all the mechanics, and when I visited Springline, the machinery, how they make shoe loss is so amazing. But he said like Alden is from all the American brands, their Lost is like, it's almost identical to the standard of Lost in England. But the way their toe transitions is very different. So it's not as abruptly down, it's like it's going a little bit forward.
Yes.
They got such a iconic Lost shape as well. They're obviously a huge cool brand.
Yeah, definitely. Well, good. We'll be looking for more to come from you, and keep up the fantastic work. You guys are really inspiring.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. So we'll share this out, and
Cool.
you know, we'll let's keep in touch as you know, new things come up. Be sure to reach out to me and let me know, and we'll get you on again at some point too.
Of course. Thank you so much for having us. And
Yeah, you
whenever
bet.
you're in Belgium, send us a message, and we'll have a great Belgian beer.
Definitely. And you guys, you know, anytime you're coming to the States, come out west.
So you're in San Diego, right?
I'm in San Diego. So right now I'm in the desert. I'm at my desert house. So I'm dressed to go to the mountain because right now it's 32 here, Celsius.
Celsius.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm going up to my mountain house. It's 12 there. So it's a 45, 50-minute drive, but I climbed 2,000 meters.
Wow.
So the temperature, so it's like, yeah, I'm going to be heading up there for the weekend and getting together with some of my neighbors and stuff. So
Cool.
definitely a different climate
Yeah.
in a very short space of, you know, of geography.
Yeah. All right. Have fun on your weekends in the mountains. And,
yeah. Oh, you know, I've got a couple of Belgians coming to a couple of buddies that have, do you know Bros of Decay?
No,
do you know
I
this?
don't think
So they explore urban X, abandoned places.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they're going to be coming and staying with me for a couple of weeks here. So I'll be having some Belgian visitors.
All right.
Yeah.
Tell them hello from
I will.
Some other random dudes in Belgium.
I will, definitely. Okay. See you guys. Take care.
See you guys.
Take care. Thank you
Thanks
so much.
Thank you, Brian.
All right.
Bye.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye.